So I got about 10 minutes until my next client comes in, which means I have about 10 minutes to work on my ankle training. And so if you're watching this video and you have already downloaded the ebook, then this is going to be kind of like an example 5-minute protocol, if you will, because there's a lot of different variations that you can try, all of which I go into more detail within the ebook. So this is just like, if you take all that information and if I were to customize it for kind of like my needs and what I want to work on in terms of proprioception and range of motion, strength, and dynamic balance, this is an example of that. So there are 3 pillars to ankle training: proprioception, dynamic balance, and range of motion strength training. So we want to make sure that regardless of the time or the amount of time or the frequency that we have to set aside for training our ankles, we include or incorporate drills that kind of check all 3 of those boxes. So for me personally, in this video, I'm going to be doing, for proprioception, I'm going to do so I have a basketball, I'm going to do single leg RDLs, as well as it's called like a glute wind-up or a hip airplane. So I'm doing those 2 drills for proprioception. For end range of motion strength training, I have my weight plate and lacrosse ball, and I'm going to be doing just full body rotations out in the open. And then I'm going to do a hop and stick with a reach. So if you have downloaded the ebook, this would be the progression to the regular hop and stick exercise. Because I just think if you're good with just a hop and stick, then adding the reach, especially if you start to change the direction of your reach, it just challenges dynamic stability to a greater degree. So we're gonna get straight into it. Got a basketball. I'm probably gonna go like this, and we're gonna do just 5 repetitions of a single leg RDL to what's called a hip lock. So we're kind of getting up in this upright, kind of like sprinter stance position. So I'm gonna take the ball, tap my laces, and drive all the way up. I have a hoop right here, but if I had one kind of like up in front of me and I was on a court and I was a basketball player, could you easily just do RDLs to like a touch shot? Definitely. If you're a soccer player, could be the same thing, or you kick a pass. So you can add elements of like your specific sport in if you'd like. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5. You're trying to manage any wobble. That was pretty easy for me, so if I wanted to, that was a really loud noise. If I wanted to, I could add a head turn, which would obviously challenge my balance a little bit more. So we'll go head on, 5 on the right side. Whoop, a little off balance there. Try and correct it. Good, better. 3 more. Last one. Boom. If I had more time, I would close my eyes because that was pretty easy. Again, I want to flirt that line between comfortable and pushing outside of my comfort zone. We don't want to go too far to where if I did a drill, I was like wobbling all over the place. That's probably, we got to reel it back in a little bit. But an example would be, okay, just kind of like live thinking. I did 5 reps, no mistakes, very minimal wobble or sway. So let's try a couple reps, and I'm gonna go kind of like off to the 45, where I'm going eyes closed for 5 reps. So right away, definitely more challenging. I feel my foot trying to figure out, I feel my body trying to figure out exactly where I'm at, which is the whole point of training your proprioception. So I'd actually say that, especially because I only lost balance that one time, this is really where I need to be training at if I want to get better at my proprioception. That's 4. Ooh. And 5. So foot is way more active. I don't know if you could tell, but I was wobbling quite a bit more. So really that's where I would stay on both sides. Now we're gonna move on to a glute windup or a hip airplane. So this one's good. It's very similar to the RDL. except it's working more in the frontal or side to side and rotational planes of motion. So you're gonna reach down and across. This one's really good for hip mobility. I'm also thinking about turning my pelvis to the right as my knee stays straight. I don't want to turn and then let my knee bow out. I want to try and keep a good kind of like left to right balance on my foot, and that's going to help me keep my kneecap straight ahead. So I'm turning to the right as I kind of hinge back and sit into my hip. I'm going to turn to the left as I keep my kneecap straight. So this position lengthens and stretches my glute. This position shortens and contracts it. Again, I could probably do eyes closed, but that might be a little bit of a push. We'll find out. 2. Quads, glute, groin, hammies, calf and foot are all barking. So we know something's working. So that's actually probably a little too hard. So I'll probably stay here. And finish out my 5 reps. What's interesting is that you could be strong and stable in one plane of motion, like an RDL, where everything is going forward and backwards. But as soon as you start moving into the side to side or rotational planes, everything can kind of fall apart, which is really why we need to be training all planes of motion. There's 3 of them. So front back, like a squat or a hinge, side to side. So that's all your like side to side motion, and then obviously rotation as well. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, so that's proprioception. First box checked. Now let's move on to end range of motion strength. So I gotta get my weight plate and my lacrosse ball. This is a 5-pound, I don't know if you can see it, it's a 5-pound weight plate. And I have just a standard lacrosse ball in there. So, find the center of the disc. If you need to do a couple practice reps, just to make sure you're in a good spot, do that. And I'm gonna do a full body rotation, so I'm starting facing the camera. I'm gonna go either clockwise or counterclockwise, all the way around until I come back to the camera, and then I'm gonna go straight back the opposite direction, and then finish here. So I'm gonna go 1 rep all the way clockwise, 1 rep all the way counterclockwise, and then switch sides. Again, we're trying to really isolate movement to occur only at the ankle. I don't want to be throwing my hips or my knee around. You want to take your time, go slow, and really make sure that every edge of the weight plate touches the ground. Kind of think about it like a stamp. So I got back to center. If my calf and ankle is just on fire, I can switch sides, but for the sake of building strength endurance, I'm gonna continue and just finish out and go the opposite direction. So if you notice, when your foot turns to the right, your body is gonna turn left. So it's just something to keep in mind. Foot's getting pretty tired. Ankle feels like it's working. Probably didn't tie my shoe tight enough. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Almost there. Oh. Whew. Pretty tough. Same thing, opposite leg. And again, the whole concept of doing daily practice is to implement a strategy called microloading, where you're just doing a little bit every single day so that you don't have to spend a long time, say 3 times a week. It's not to say that one is better than the other, it's just different strategies. I think the important thing is to try and accumulate a certain number of reps or a certain amount of time of practice of training your ankle or any other body region for that matter every week. So you could take, let's say, to make it easy, let's say like 30 minutes of ankle training. If you did 10 minutes 3 times a week, it'd be 30 minutes. Or if you did man, this is gonna, so if you did 5 minutes, 6 times a week, it's also 30 minutes. So it kind of doesn't matter how you break it up, as long as you accumulate the same amount of time over the course of the week. So think about your ankle training in terms of weekly training, and then how you choose to implement that throughout the week kind of depends on your schedule, where you're at in terms of like your ankle strength and endurance. If I've been doing this for a long period of time, I kind of need a little bit more time, in which case I would probably be better served with longer sessions, so I can really stimulate the muscle, the joint, the connective tissue, all that stuff, to a greater degree each individual time, but I don't have to do it as often, if that makes sense. So I would say general rule of thumb, if you're a beginner to ankle training, like you could be a professional player, right, but still a beginner to a certain type of training. If you're a beginner, focus on shorter sessions every single day or more frequently. And then as you get better and progress and you need a greater training stimulus to continue your progression, then you can kind of bump down the frequency and then do, say, 20 to 30 minutes 3 times a week, for example. So I have to do I forgot which side I'm going towards. I think I go this way, but I gotta finish off my right side. So right side for me, I've had more ankle sprains on this side, and my balance is not significantly worse, but it is noticeably worse than it is on the left. But that's good, because that's why we do both sides. All right, end range strength, second box, check. And now I've got to move the camera a little bit so that we can finish with our hop and stick with reach. And we're going to be doing 4 different directions, 3 reps each, and then just for 1 set. Start on my left leg. I'm going to go hop and stick, and then as soon as my foot lands and I hit the ground, I'm going to immediately reach quickly in the downward direction. So here, drop. 3 reps. Then I'm going to go opposite leg, right foot, 3 reps forward. Three reps backwards. Oh. Oh. And 3 reps backwards over here. So to me, those are 2 not good reps and then 1 solid rep. Oh. Let me hit 1 more. And we're going to go lateral. So left foot going outwards. Ooh, this one's way tougher than straightforward. Right foot going to the right. Take it back. Ooh. Reach. 2 okay reps, 1 good one. Let's go left foot in. So left foot going to the right. Come on. Right foot going left. Okay, so a little bit of feedback, thought process as I'm going through that. Okay, I can get consistent clean reps, or I can get clean reps, but it's still kind of challenging, especially going like left and right, so in the lateral kind of plane. Forward is pretty easy, backward is a little bit more tough. So I like this progression for myself personally, because I could do it pretty well, but it's not perfect, right? And I think that's, again, trying to find that sweet spot. You don't want to be messing up all the time. You also don't want to be just absolutely crushing it, feeling like, you know, you can eat a bowl of ramen noodles while you're doing your drill, right? You want to be challenging your body and challenging your ability, whatever it is, whether it's proprioception or end range strength or dynamic balance. You want to challenge that. Shouldn't be perfect, But I would say, you know, if you're pretty good 70 to 80% of the time, then you probably found a drill that's suitable for you. So hopefully this video was helpful. I did a lot of talking, so normally it wouldn't take you this long if you're kind of just going through the drills. But you can kind of see how you could take a lot of different progressions, pick and choose the ones that give you that 70 to 80% success rate sweet spot, for lack of a better term. Put that into a very simple framework of, okay, checking my box for proprioception, checking my box for end range strength, checking my box for dynamic balance. I check my box for ankle strength and injury prevention and performance training. You know, I'm doing my due diligence to ensure that my ankles stay healthy and it doesn't become a weak spot in my game. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them. You know, if this is on YouTube, in the comment section. If you have any questions and you don't want to put it on YouTube for whatever reason, you can DM me at ankle.360 on Instagram, and I will reply to you there. See you on the next video.